at this. This is an easy springtime DIY that you can do on a rainy day, which it is out here. And Ken Wingard is here to show us how to do these. These are so fantastic. Look at that thing hanging on the wall.
We actually have a shot of it when it was on the front door this morning as well, before the rain.
Look at that.
How did you come up with this idea? Were you singing in the rain?
I was singing in the rain. I was being Gene Kelly. And no, I actually started to see these last spring in a lot of online magazines, and I started to look into them, and they were all artificial, which is fine. But I was like, you know, when spring does finally get here, we want to celebrate live flowers. So I set about figuring out a way to make this arrangement, but to use actual live flowers, whatever's in season. Like my mom's in Savannah right now. It's where my parents live, and the azaleas and the dogwoods are like bursting. Here we have a lot of flowers going. But even you poor people that are buried in snow, you've got hyacinths and crocuses and daffodils and paper whites that are going to be coming up any week now. So you can really do this anywhere.
All right.
I'm excited. So how do we start?
All right, so start off with your umbrella, and oddly enough, this was actually one of the biggest challenges. You want a pretty umbrella with a wood handle, not one of the ugly plastic ones. Right. And then you have to find one that's going to be an attractive color, and that was my problem. So I'm going to show you what I did find. If you can see, this is the umbrella that I found, which I thought was a little bright, but easily enough, I just spray painted. I spray painted all three of them. Now, spray painting is a little bit tricky because they are meant to repel liquid.
Right, right.
So you just spray paint it like anything else, but you have to go very, very light. And it probably took about 8 coats, and at first it doesn't look like you're doing anything. And just keep repeating it just like you're spray painting anything, and pick the color you want.
So you probably, does it have a primer in it, the spray paint?
Nope, just regular standard spray paint.
Okay.
So now I'm gonna show you the next secret to this. So obviously, umbrellas are not watertight. So my next challenge was figuring out how to keep the flowers alive. And I tried Oasis, the standard stuff we use, but they're far too bulky in this sort of loose, free container. So my answer was these, which are water crystals. These are called Soil Moist, but there are a bunch of different brands. You actually use this to mix into things like flower boxes and containers that you're not going to water much. And these little crystals, I can show them to you, they almost look like salt. And they soak up water, and then they release water over time. You usually mix them with soil. What I did was...
So they're very absorbent.
Very, very. And they're biodegradable, so they eventually break down. They last for about 18 months. You can keep adding water. So what I did was I took some of these, sprinkled them into a good old sandwich Ziploc bag or a freezer bag or anything like that.
Do you need to put in a certain amount, depending upon how much flour you're putting in?
If you're doing a huge bouquet, maybe half a cup, but a third cup, quarter cup, you'll be fine. Really, just that much. And then, if you watch here, I love this stuff. I just have a little bit of water, put that water in there, and then
it's growing.
Yeah, what's going to happen is that these are going to all absorb, and what you're going to end up with is, if you can see that.
It gets solid?
It doesn't get solid, but it becomes kind of like a gel. Right. And so that's going to hold your moisture, and then you're going to get your flowers.
Is there a certain, I guess, consistency you'd want? Because the more water you add, the runnier it'll be, right?
Exactly.
You want to maintain.
You want it
like
to me, this like a jelly. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what you can do is, once you make the arrangement, you can easily go back, add more water, and keep these things going. But for the life of flowers, this will last you, a couple of weeks on your door or in your house. So that's the key to making this work. I was very excited to figure it out.
Yeah, okay.
So then what you're going to do next, and you can go ahead and start there. I've got my flowers. These are fresh flowers, and I have them cut. And I found the easiest thing to do is make little nosegays, little tiny bouquets, and you need about 3 to 4 of them. Go ahead and make them, secure them with a rubber band, and then all you're going to do is get your little granules, sort of get it into a corner. See how solid that is now? And then just get your stems in there, and then just get.
Amazing.
I love that for our flowers here. I'm going to use that.
I know you can use it for a lot of things where you need baskets and things that won't hold water. Then just secure it with the rubber band.
Now,
look, little
that's
self-contained
genius.
bouquet.
And then replacing, like if the flowers die out, you just...
So what you do, take off the rubber band, take out your flowers. Like especially those of you who are in like really cold areas, if you want to do this, I would use a lot of greenery, paracantha, lemon leaves, ivy, and then a few flowers that you can then just pluck out those flowers and put in new ones.
Can you reuse this?
This will last for 18 months. It is biodegradable, so it'll eventually break down. So half a year you can use it, and then, you know.
How do
and
we
then,
stuff them in the
So
umbrellas?
what you're going to do, start off with, and you can start here. I have yours already bundled. I have a branch here, so now's a great time to start. So start with your long branch, which you've got one there. This is a great time to start pruning your apples, your plums, your et cetera, and they will easily bloom indoors or out. And put that down and put it all the way into the tip of your umbrella.
So we want to open it up a little bit.
Just to, you can just get it through the spokes there. You can see here, I'm just tipping it through the spokes and straight down in
it's
there.
caught. I see where it's caught. Okay.
And then you have a little piece of ribbon there. Take your ribbon and tie a bow about halfway up. So that's going to secure your branch, and that will give you little pockets for everything else.
Okay.
Look at there.
Easy breezy.
And as you do this, we'll talk a bit more about it, but personalizing these in any particular way?
You can do all sorts of things. Like I have little butterflies, I have nest eggs. You can really put all sorts of things on there. If this is for a baby shower, you could do little storks. And then all you're going to do is get your bundles of flowers, and I sort of color coordinated them too, and put, what I found is just do your front 3 pockets, and just sit it there in your front 3 pockets.
Oh my God, I'm loving this so much, I don't even know what to do. I'm so happy. I'm so excited.
And it's very easy. The little pockets create great little areas.
You know, I
so
can
it sort of
see how you would
self-arranges.
want to do artificial in this, but when you see the real flowers, it brings an authenticity to it that makes it very organic. It doesn't, and it seems like there's a lot more, I don't know, like love to it.
And to me, when it's spring is a time, that's what we celebrate. There's not much time when the snow is gone. And then once you get your 3 or 4 around, I found I did one short stubby arrangement with an extra short stem, and I just drop that
Look at there.
right in the center.